Hello, welcome back to the Double D podcast. My name is Derek, and as always, my co-host Dalton. We also have a special guest, Mr. Blake Widmer, all the way from Jamaica. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Yeah, Jamaica. He's a good follower of the show. Huge Purdue fan, and somebody we appreciate you having on, my guy.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We are reviewing Purdue versus Marquette's game today. Purdue with a pretty resounding victory. Got a little ugly there at the end with some of the subs in the game. But if you're a metric follower like I am at times, that can be frustrating because you know it's just destroying your metrics in the last 4 minutes. But at the same time, it honestly does not matter. And that's why metrics aren't everything. You have to actually watch the games and kind of see for yourself. So initial thoughts on the games. I'll throw it over to you first, Dalton, and then you can throw it to Blake once you're done.
Yeah, just a overall good game, like you said. When at the end of the game, it makes it look a lot closer than it really was. Putting, guys that might not get the minutes in there, but just a dominating game. Clough just tearing it up. The we hit a couple of threes in the second half. 3-point shooting overall just not there, but a resounding win for the shots not falling. That was my thoughts.
Blake?
Yeah, I mean, we go 7 for 23 from 3, and so that's not where we want to be. It's not where we should be. I think we were just 2 for 10 in the first half, which is basically exactly what we did against Iowa State. So it's a little bit concerning. But I think the difference we saw today was the guys locked in on defense, grabbed every rebound they could, and didn't let Marquette get easy buckets in transition. The turnovers were concerning to get started, but then the guys really calmed down after the second media timeout, and we were good after that. So,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think a lot of the game came down to when you're not making shots, are you able to still extend your lead in those times? Because a lot of times Purdue, notoriously, when they're not making shots, everything kind of goes to hell in a handbasket. You know, they let it affect other parts of the game. And you saw that some at times today, some frustration on some guys' faces. Saw a lot on Daniels there at the end of the game. Definitely think he was frustrated with some of the no calls, but when you're in a 25-point blowout at the end of the game, you're not going to get those calls. It's just not going to happen. The refs don't really care at that point, to be honest. But as you guys mentioned, rebounding was great in this game, especially when it was needed toward the end. It really didn't show up because the right guys weren't in. But we end up out-rebounding them by 9. End with 14 turnovers. 3 or 4 of those were in that last 4-minute stretch there, and 8 were in the first half. So they really got that short up in the second half, and was happy to see that. We do finish with 6 steals. So again, we are forcing some turnovers, which is nice to see. Shoot 80% from the free throw line, end up 30% from 3. Got to see Omer make a fadeaway at a buzzer and get one to do a crazy bounce in. So it was good to have him get a couple shots to fall. Goes 2 for 5 on the day, 1 for 4 from 3, but it was nice to see one go in. Really think we needed that. But we'll start out with, obviously Oscar was incredible in this game. I think he was without a doubt the player of the game. And,
absolutely.
Ends with 22 points on 9 of 9 shooting, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks. I mean, just an incredible stat line, 4 offensive rebounds. Blake, what did you think of his performance? Did all that in 23 minutes, by the way.
Yeah.
Not like he played 35 minutes in this game. So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, the efficiency is just off the charts. And it's what all of us were begging for coming into this game. We were begging for it at halftime of the Minnesota game, and we came out second half and started really working it inside in the paint. And really glad to see the team focus on the interior when the shots weren't falling. That's what we have to do. Lock in on defense, take care of the ball, and feed the post, and we'll be okay.
Dalton?
Hey, I hate to say it, but called that, man.
Yep,
If we
you
just
did.
if we have such a post presence, and I think that's why you saw the 3-point shooting get a little better in the second half was the interior touches. I don't know why, but something about Purdue 3-point shooters, if it's coming from a big man inside, they tend to shoot better.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a specific stat on that or it's my brain, but I think that when you get a post touch and you have somebody standing outside, they just have a better look. I don't know if it's lined up or what it is, but I loved it. I love what Clough does. I'm a huge fan of Clough. jersey purchase might be in the near future, even
Yep.
though we only get 1 year of him, which I hate.
Yeah.
Hate it, but that it was a fantastic game, and we needed that from him because as we saw, DJ was getting bullied.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just they were. I don't. DJ looked so frustrated by the end of the game. Like I texted you, Derek. I said, DJ looks like he wants to take himself out back and old Yeller himself right now. So I was like, it was just poor kid, man. I feel bad for him.
Yeah. And we could jump right into DJ, just stick in the big man room here. I mean, he ends with 4 points on 2 of 7 shooting. I mean, this is a guy who made 21 straight shots at one point this season.
Yep.
So that's pretty bad for him. 0 for 2 from the 3, only 2 rebounds, has 3 turnovers, does get 2 blocks, but I mean, for the most part, you saw a lot of him at the end of the game. He just has to learn how to block out, I think, a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to just jump for rebounds, and that works when you're 7'3" at the high school level, but at the college level, it's just not going to work when you're going up against, especially once we hit Big Ten season, big physical guys. Just thought it was a frustrating game for him. Hopefully, he can just move past it and move on. When Clough's dominating like this, it's really tough for him to get in the game and get a good flow because really we just want Clough back in. So,
yeah.
Blake, did you see anything specifically on Jacobson, that kind of led to that, or was this just maybe a one-off game?
Well, he just gets moved so easily. So he ends up standing underneath the rim. You're not going to get rebounds standing underneath the rim. So when he gets vertical, he just gets moved. It's just pushing a guy on wheels, and he just rolls, closer to the rim, and guys pinch down and squeeze down like they should. They're going for offensive rebounds, and he just gets pushed, and then he's out of position. Yeah, so he's just got to keep working on staying lower with his frame.
Yeah, and I think Painter talked about that in the last post game or the preview. Yeah, getting lower at the hips.
Yep.
Because when you're that big, if you stand up tall, you're just like a little weeble wobble out there. You're a little.
Well,
top heavy.
you're giving leverage to your smaller opponent.
Right. Yeah. And like you see TKR do it. He gets low and gets rebounds over big guys because he's getting around them and blocking them out from getting lower. So definitely think you're right. Dalton, did you see anything with DJ that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm a big plus minus guy. I know a lot of people hate those kind of statistics, but he was -2, one of 2 players to be negative today. As a 7'3" player, I that doesn't sit well with me. I do remember one play specifically where he was under the basket and he tried to do some weird turn, like looked like he about snapped his back in half to turn and get a shot up. And I'm just thinking like, man, just put the ball on the deck one time, and that's something that Edey was so good at. One dribble to a power move to get up and over.
Yes.
And you don't have to necessarily go straight at the basket. You're 7'3", learn that hook. And I think we'll see that with DJ working with Brantley. Obviously he's still basically a freshman as far as playing games. And Marquette was physical. Say what you want. Their defense was tough for it. Yeah, I mean, they wanted to muck it up, and I think that's what we'll see teams that are like this, that maybe not on our I wouldn't even say athletic ability. They were very athletic, but skill level is going to try to do. We saw it with Memphis, but I think that's what Marquette wanted to do, and they made life hell for poor DJ down low. DJ, if Rob sees this, just tell him to keep at it, man. Keep going, keep fighting. He'll put on 30 pounds in this offseason. Next year, people will absolutely despise him. So,
yeah, he has games where he looks great and he has games where he doesn't. It's going to happen. He's still learning, like we said. It's similar to Omer. These guys are going to be frustrating at times, but at the same time, there's going to be times where you're like, holy crap, why are they not playing more minutes? It'll be like the early Fletcher days where half the fan base wants him to never play again. Half the fan base wants him in 40 minutes a game. It's just inevitable with guys like this. I wasn't super mad really with Jacobson's performance, honestly, until I really started seeing it on his face. Didn't like that. That's something that's got to get fixed too. You just can't have that kind of reaction. That's a freshman reaction.
I don't call it a freshman reaction because Trey was doing the exact same thing when he wasn't getting calls. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
get rid of it, dude. We don't
Yeah.
need it. I called Trey PMS Trey today because he got that odd shoving foul. Like it was unnecessary. It was
Yeah.
like they said something about him and Gold, like knowing each other from before playing against
Oh,
each
really?
other. And I think that Trey had something to prove because when he dunked that, he stared Gold down. So you just cannot be emotional. I love Trey to death. He needs to go to a cave somewhere far in the north and sit and think about it for a few days, philosophize why he gets so frustrated out there.
Yeah, no chance philosophize is a word.
It is.
But
That is a word, actually, Derek.
we can move on to Trey. He had 10 points on 3 of 7 shooting. Not his best day, obviously, offensively. Did go 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Happy to see that. 9
Yeah.
And
rebounds, 8
one that got waved off too on Daniel stepping in
Yeah,
the
he
lane
and he
early,
made
which
that,
was
right?
so annoying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was another thing that bothered me a little bit. But all in all, a pretty good game. Almost gets a double-double. Had 8 rebounds in the first half. Didn't have as
Yes.
many in the second. Didn't play very much, honestly. Did have a block, kind of rare for Trey. All in all, didn't need him a lot with Oscar playing the way that he was, but still seeing some of that frustration stuff with Trey. Blake, any thoughts on Trey and just the body language he's shown this year being very different than what we've seen, his level-headedness in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I think he still contributed a winning ball. That you mentioned 8 rebounds in the first half alone. Like that's incredible.
Yeah.
Um, he only had 1 turnover for the game, and he was getting doubled a lot when he touched it. So, you know, that's still going to help us win games if Trey can rebound the ball. And if teams are going to sell out on stopping him, it means other guys are going to be open. And we saw Clough one-on-one in the post all day.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that if they're not worried about Trey. They're worried about Trey, so that opens up for Clough. Like it's Purdue basketball. What is best for Purdue is what coach says. So as long as TKR stays cool and doesn't force the game, I think we're going to be fine. The frustration might have been specifically because of Gold. I'm not sure what was all going on there. So
Well, and I think Trey last year seemed to get every call. He got called a lot he had so many N1 opportunities. I believe it might have been the most in the country. This year, he's not getting those. He's not getting to the line like he was at all. And I think that could be a little bit of it too. But when you have another big body in there, everybody's banging on everybody. And I think that sometimes the refs just start letting you play. And to be honest, I think that's better for Purdue in the long run. Yeah. Any thoughts on Trey Dalton?
Yeah, kind of just what I said. When he's an emotional leader, we do a lot better. I think the young guys see that, and I don't think that's a culture we want to establish. I don't remember ever seeing Grady Eifert pouting about calls. Um, I don't think I don't remember Carson pouting about calls. If you want to be a true great, you play through it. You find a way. And I think what he needs, we saw it one time in this game where they dropped the double. He made an incredible pass. And
Yeah.
I think he's just got to get more Travion Williams blood flowing through him, I suppose, is he if they're going to drop doubles and force you, then Clough's open on the block, get it to him, or those kick out threes like we were talking about.
yep.
Yeah, I agree. You saw that a lot. You heard about that, excuse me, a lot in the post or off season where everybody's talking about Trace passing, and we haven't really seen it a ton yet. So he did have that one behind the head pass to Oscar underneath. That was pretty cool. But I would like to see some more passing out of him. But honestly, we're just not getting him the ball as much as we did last year. A lot of that comes down to having another big in there and just the way they're defending him. He's clearly the focal point against most teams' defense, and they're just denying him the ball. We can move on and kind of just really quick hit on the other two guys in the big room, Venter and Murphy. Murphy obviously only played garbage time minutes, took 1 shot, missed it. Venter I thought was pretty good today in his limited minutes, played 12 minutes, but had 3 rebounds, hit a 3, 5 points, had an assist, had a steal, relatively active. He has moments where you're like, what is he doing out there, I think? And then he has moments where he looks really good. We can kind of, make this a little quick, but Blake, what are your thoughts on Benter's game today and maybe just Benter's play overall?
Yeah, I think we're gonna see the fruits of his mistakes this year. I think next year he is gonna be fantastic. Can't wait to see him next year. It's just gonna take him time getting through that learning curve this year. I do think he fits better at a 3 than at a 4. In certain matchups, I think he's going to be okay at a 4. But there's some matchups where it's really hard for him. He plays off instinct a lot, which can be great. He had a great lane today to drive in, and he tried to pivot, reverse, and just lost his footing. That's the type of thing he's just not doing that as much, and you could tell he wasn't super comfortable making that move. But I'm really excited for him next year. I'm okay with the learning pains, but also wouldn't mind seeing Liam come in the first half, like when we're 2 for 10. Just put him
Yeah.
in the final 2 minutes, right? See if he gets up a shot or two and hits a 3 going into halftime. Like, our end of half hasn't been great this season, so like I would like to see Liam a little bit earlier just to see if he gets hot.
Yeah, I like that take a lot. The only other thing I was going to say, and then I'll let Dalton kind of finish this section off with the big guys, was I think I realized we cannot have Jacobson in the game without Trey because our rebounding falls off a cliff. Trey or Oscar needs to be in the game at all times from a rebounding standpoint. If you want to put DJ in for the lob threat and the blocks and take Trey or give Oscar a breather, that works. But did like what you said though about Benter playing on instincts. That's very, very accurate statement. That's how he was in high school. He ran point a lot in high school. He's a very cerebral player, kind of like a wing forward version of Braden. He can play as. So I do think as his career progresses, and maybe he does eventually get moved to that natural 3 spot, that we'll see a different version of him that fans probably by that point won't even know exists, where he's a playmaking wing. So what are your thoughts, Dalton, on the big room as a whole, or if you want to hit on Benter or Liam specifically?
The big room as a whole, I'll say they feed off of each other, and I think when one's rolling, it makes it a lot easier for all of them to roll. It kind of opens things up. Once we figure out the defensive schema, which I know these guys watch tons of film, so we should be ready to go off the bat. And we looked good early today, which was a relief. The shooting will get fixed. Obviously, that's not a big man problem, but I thought Benter at the end, those were still Marquette starters in, and I think you saw what Jack Benter is capable of. Took that guy off the dribble straight to a layup. I mean, and it wasn't even challenging. I just think he has that capability. I'm not a huge fan of Benter at the 4 ever. From people I've talked to that have seen him play live, he is maybe 6'4", 6'5". I don't like him on a 4. He can play tough D, but he can play even tougher D on a guy, his size, 6'4" to 6'6". I don't know, but I'm not Matt Painter, obviously. So I trust Paint and what he wants to do with his schemes. I thought it was a good day for the big man room. And like Blake said, I want Liam Murphy minutes. When he jacked that 3 in the second half, it was the closest miss I've ever seen in my life. Like, I was for sure that was going in. But yeah, maybe when we're lacking at the 3, maybe just a couple minute spurt here just to see if the flamethrower is on,
Yeah. And I do want to say that according to my son Jameson, you are Matt Painter, actually. So
yeah.
he tried to call and trick my daughter into believing that Dalton was Matt Painter one day. So
That's great.
in my eyes and in my family's eyes, you are him.
I appreciate
okay, we'll roll. We'll roll into. We try to generally, unless there's some super breakout, we'll combine Jakari and CJ that played a total of 40 minutes, all the 2 minutes essentially. CJ ends up with 5 points on 2 of 5, 1 of 3 from 3, 2 assists, no turnovers. And Jakari 2 of 4 from the field with 4 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, no turnovers. So biggest thing there for me is 0 turnovers, and I thought they played pretty solid defensively. Kind of locking down their best player. Chase Ross only ends with 10 points on 3 of 9.
Yep.
Yeah, he's 3 of 9, 1 for 3 from 3. Has 3 turnovers. Didn't even really notice him a lot during the game. That Royce Partham was probably their best player today. And, Chase Ross, for him to play 28 minutes, a guy that averages 20 plus points a game, to shoot 3 of 9, have 10 points, 3 turnovers, really thought that they did a great job defensively. And that's on their box score, that doesn't stand out, but that's where I thought the value came from. What are your thoughts on that, Blake?
100%. Their contribution to the game was on defense. That's now Phylon, Christian Anderson, Tyson from Minnesota.
Cade Tyson.
Cade Tyson, yep. And now Chase Ross. Like, that is elite defense. Really happy to see that from both CJ and Jakari. But I think CJ really set the tone in the first half.
Yeah, Dalton, anything on those guys?
Man, I just wanted to start falling for Jakari.
So do I.
He is such a shot creator, and he can go out and get his own shot if we need him to. He can bully you down the lane. I just want him to get confident, and I want that shot to start falling. I'm not asking for Fletcher level numbers, but I'm talking 1 out of 3 threes. We're a different team. I want to see more shots from CJ. Like, he's like more of a Fletcher Lawyer player in my mind, where I'm like Painter. I'm like, dude, just shoot the ball.
Yeah.
You know, he's so efficient and he doesn't make mistakes very often. He's a great post feeder. I noticed that today. He's good at, getting the ball where it needs to go. But man, if we could get those guys up to 10 points a game collectively, I mean, we're looking at a different team. So we saw it today. They had 9. I don't know. I just wish they would be more confident.
Yeah, I think CJ's very good at finding his role offensively. Some games he gets more shots up, some games he doesn't. Jakari, I think similar. He just needs to see that 3-ball go in for a little bit. And if you remember, last year is very similar. In the early season, he was not very good from 3. He really picked it up in the second half. So I'm hoping that happens again. And then we can, before we hit on Braden and Fletcher, because I thought they were both very good today in their own ways. We can quickly hit on Meyer, because I know we've been very critical of him as a podcast. Thought he was better today. Still need to see the ball go in the hoop on these wide open threes, but he did get one to fall. He hit that late shot clock shot that almost feels like that's the shot he wants, is that crazy fadeaway, one-footed. That's the one he seems to make. Only goes 2 for 4 from the line, though. I'm just, my thought with him is like, keep doing the little things. 2 assists, 0 turnovers. Fine. I'm happy with that. I need to see more of that. I'd like to see that at 4 or 5. Played 16 minutes. Just happy to see one go in for him. His 3-point shooting has been abysmal all year, and I do expect by February or March that does start trending in the right direction. Blake, what are your thoughts on his game today? And then, just overarching stuff. Obviously, he's a freshman, he's got some learning curves.
Yeah, I did not see a lot of his minutes today. I was having stream issues that kept going down, so it seemed like every time Omer came in, I didn't have it. But I did see his 3 that bounced in, and then his late shot clock fadeaway. He did get one of his earlier 3s that he missed was a late shot clock also, and I'm good with that. But the pass to Trey, that was a nice pass, and that will fire up him. It will fire up the team, the crowd, more than just hitting a 3. And I think if he just keeps focusing on facilitating, he'll be better and we'll be better.
Yeah, and I think he's going to slowly learn that, and he's probably seeing it with Braden. Sometimes the great pass is even better than making your own bucket, especially from a team standpoint. So, yep. Dalton, any thoughts on? I know we've covered Omer extensively, but any thoughts on Omer in this game?
Let's jump on this comment real quick. We've got Harvesting Heralds. Even though Marquette isn't good, that was their lowest point total of the season. Good defense. Yeah. Agreed. The defense was stifling all day. On Omer, I love the kid. I think he will be great. I'm not high on him right now.
I think a lot of people
think it's a lot of forcing, and I think that his role needs to be those whip passes right now and just playing within the offense. You don't need to go find a bucket. He missed post feeds to jack 3s today. He did hit that one falling out, so maybe he needs to take circus shots every time. I don't know what the fix is, but he hit a 3 today, which is a good sign. I do think Omer is the cornerstone for a Final Four run, and I still believe that. I think he can get there. Right now, I think they should be preaching in the locker room, hey, play within the offense, Omer. Like, we don't need you to go out and do anything crazy. Your passing is stellar. Feed the people. Feed the people, Omer.
Yeah, well, and we've seen this before with guys in slumps. Your misses start to get louder when you're in the building, like you hear almost like a audible noise from the audience when you just can't get them to go. We saw it with Jakari last year. We saw it with Fletcher in stretches of his career, where the crowd's almost like begging for it to go in, and when it doesn't, it's almost like an audible, ugh, another one. It really does. I mean, I've been to enough games that you can feel it. And also, I want to stop for just a moment and say Price Sanford for Nebraska is beating Illinois by himself 23-16 in Illinois. Anyway, yeah, Illinois is
Wow.
down 14 at home right now. Price Sanford has 23 points. They have 16, so pretty crazy. I think Nebraska may be
Just
real.
nuts.
Yeah,
Nebraska ball, man.
Nebraska ball,
Crazy.
dude. They said, "See you later, Tommy.
Wow.
It's time for Price." Okay,
Yeah.
pretty impressive. I mean, I don't know how this game will probably end with an Illinois win because that's just how things go. But right now, it's impressive what they're doing. All right, we can move on from Omer. Do want to always give a shout out to my boy Aaron Fine when he gets in the game. Congratulations, Aaron Fine. Although your box score was a bunch of zeros and 1 turnover, not thrilled about that. But
The 1 trillion club.
we'll do better on the next one. All right, we'll move on. I want to hit on Fletcher. Thought this was a game he really needed. Goes 4 for 8 from 3, 5 from 9 from the field. 15 points. Feels like that he just somehow always gets to 15 points. Makes his only free throw, has an assist, has a steal. Just what I think the doctor ordered for him, a very kind of nonchalant game where he hits 4 threes. He's been kind of cold from the 3-point line here in the last few games and didn't want to see that happen all through December. I didn't want a whole month of that. We needed to get out of that quicker than he has in the past. So was happy to see that and took a couple aggressive ones. You know, what are your thoughts on him, Blake? Glad to see him get out of the slump, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Glad to see the 50% mark beat his box score again. I thought a couple of the early ones were maybe just a little bit forced because that first one went in. And so then he was, feeling it. But I thought he was fine. Want him to keep shooting. If he's taking 7 to 8 threes a game, that's really good for us. So I'm good with it. I always got my Fletch shirt on, so
Oh heck yeah,
he can always shoot.
He can always shoot.
Need a
I agree
lawyer.
that getting to that 8 number is big. What about you, Dalton?
The quietest 15 points of the day.
Yep,
That's what I'll call it. Didn't know that Fletcher had 15 until I opened the box score. So call me a box score junkie or whatever you want to, but just didn't do anything wrong. It just was a quiet lawyer 15. I mean, 4 of 8 from 3, just doing what he do. He's a bucket, and I think we'll see. I'm calling for a career high from Fletcher against Auburn.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Well,
big game
I don't.
Fletch.
Yeah, if you caught
Yeah.
that Ryan Hammer interview, Braden specifically said the one game he was looking for on the schedule was this Auburn game because of what happened last year. So I think that's like in those guys, they're very careful about saying things like that. Like they're like a one game at a time. Everything's a political answer, but he did break out and say that, and he said Michigan too. But his first thought was that Auburn game, and that's coming up next in a week. So excited to see that game because I think those big three, they got something to prove in that game. Like this team beat our asses last year right by Christmas. That's what we had to go into Christmas dealing with, and this year we're going to do the same thing back to them. I really
believe.
do feel that.
I believe.
And we'll hit on Braden here. Ends up with only 7 points, misses 2 threes. You know, if he makes one of those, he has a double-double. Still gets his 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. Still, I mean, even in his games that aren't good necessarily, he just puts up stat lines that are just kind of crazy. I mean, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, 7 points without making a 3. Did have 4 turnovers. I think 3 of those were in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah, crazy.
It was very, very weird. I don't know if that was miscommunication or just some sloppiness, but still like what he did. He still commands the floor. He's still the guy that when he goes out of the game, I go, Blake, any thoughts on Braden? Obviously, he just put up a stat line in the last game that was on par with what they say, LeBron and Luka.
Yeah, it's exactly like what we said with Edie. Is we just stopped talking about it because it was, it was every night. It's production, giving the team what they need. I would like us to see be much more careful coming out the gate, especially against a team like Marquette. They're one of the top 5 in the nation in points off turnovers. They get over 20 fast break points a game. fantastic job by us limiting that. They didn't get that much on fast break and transition, but we still gave them the ball way too much to start the game. So when we're playing a team that has this type of a style, it's just got to be more of a focus coming out to not feed into that. After the second media timeout, we were fine. We had like 4 turnovers from like the 12-minute mark of the first half to the 6-minute mark in the second half. And then we picked up a couple cheap ones at the end of the game. But we were like between 10 to 12 basically the entire second half, and really took care of it. But why don't we start the game that way? So we'd really like this to be more careful.
Yeah, I've been on that same mindset for a while now. Can we just start a game well? Just one? Just give us one game that we start. Also, you mentioned it. Marquette only had 2 fast break points the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, they're averaging like 20, 21 a game. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, that was a good – well, and one thing that stops fast breaks is rebounding. If you dominate rebounding, it's hard to fast break because we rebounded most of our misses. I don't know what the percentage was. I haven't looked yet, but I would guess we rebounded close to 50% of our misses. But it was pretty impressive. Dalton, what were your thoughts on just Braden and kind of the whole flow of the game because he kind of controls that?
Yeah, Braden makes history again. Second player in NCAA history with 1,500 points, 850 assists, and 550 rebounds. Shout out to Dustin Shute from Sports Illustrated for that stat on X. It's just, we're watching history every game with him. And it seems like it is about nothing but a natty. We see that in the points column. Last year, if he didn't score 15, we were probably losing that game. This year, we usually have at least 4 players in double figures, so he doesn't have to go after that as much. I just like to see Braden playing freely, just working within the offense. And those threes will be there when he needs them. It's just kind of his game at this point. He just comes out. I know he wants assists every game.
Yeah, you know that.
Like it's clear that's what he's going after is the feeds and getting other players good shots. And I just appreciate that we get to live through this era of Boiler Ball. With it being the big threes last year, it's just taking a minute to step back and enjoy greatness. And not saying that it won't be here in the future. It'll be different, though. It's never going to be this way again, which is, it's sad, but just like we said early this season, when we're watching Braden, 7 and 10 and 5 rebounds, which one he very clearly took from Trey. So
I love that. Yeah.
He jumped right in front of him after he called Lance Jones out on running point for stealing boards from Edie. So, but yeah, just witnessing greatness, break the record or not, Braden Smith will go down as a Boiler all-time great, up in the clouds with Edie and the Carson Edwards. People will mention his name in Boiler lore for many years to come. So that is my take. It's amazing to watch. Happy to be here.
Yeah, you said very well, very eloquently there. You're going to start writing for Hallmark soon. He was very, very poignant though. I mean, that's very true. Like, Purdue isn't going away by any means, of course, after this season, but going from Edie to Braden, one of the greatest big men ever to one of the greatest point guards ever, and I mean in college basketball history, it's just never going to be like that again. It's 99.999% of schools have never had that to begin with. I don't know that it's ever been done where a team has had a player that dominant from a center standpoint and then immediately after with a point guard. Like the records that those two are going to accumulate and break. And then the wins that they're going to accumulate as well is just absolutely unbelievable and remarkable. So, don't want to take him for granted this season because he like you said, he's clearly, about winning. He doesn't seem to get mad when he misses shots. He gets mad when guys miss his assists. And he is drastically rapidly approaching the Big Ten record, Cassius Winston's record. I think he's like 30 away now, 32 away maybe. So that'll be broken probably near the Wisconsin game after the first of the year. Purdue only has 2 games left this season, or this calendar year, with Kent State and Auburn coming up next week. And then Kent State's the 29th, I believe. So let's move on. We went through all the players. I do kind of want to just quickly hit on what everybody's, takeaway from this game is, or maybe just something quick that you'd like to see better when we go play Auburn, because Auburn's going to put up a little bit different of a fight than Marquette did. And, there was a lot of good in this game. Obviously, you win by 20 points, and it was more like 30. There's a lot of good to take away from it. But there was also some things that I think that need cleaned up before we get to Auburn, but we have a whole week to do that. So, Blake, what are your kind of thoughts moving forward toward the next game, and overarching thoughts on this game? What do you think could be better? Or what do you think that we did well?
Yeah, I think the keys to the game coming into this Marquette game are going to be kind of our recipe throughout the season, which is nothing new. But we need to keep going inside earlier and let the inside game feed to the outside game. It's what Dalton said in the preview show. Keep taking care of the ball. We can't start sloppy against Auburn like we did tonight. Got to take care of the ball, get good shots, and then just lock in on defense. I didn't say this about Braden earlier, but his on-ball defense was really good today too. Marquette's running all that switching guard action, and I thought Braden did a great job several times just moving his feet, cutting his guy off, and forcing a kick-out pass. Didn't really let his guy get to the rim. We just got to keep doing that. And then Auburn punked us a little bit last year with their bigs. Janai Broom just dominated that game from the tip. Would really like to see TKR and Clough take that same mentality into the game against Auburn.
Yeah.
Yep, Dalton.
Yeah, it's going to be a long week, boys. I hate when there's a week in between games. Yep. There's going to be a lot of good ball on, but yeah, carrying over. I think the big three got the chip. I think it might be scary times for Auburn next Saturday in Indy. I don't think Braden and them take well. If we have 14 turnovers against Auburn, it's going to be a way closer game than we want it to be.
Yep.
That's the only thing I can say right now. I think Fletcher shoots very well on neutral courts. I would love to see those stats if anybody's listening or has them. But big game Fletch comes to play on neutral floors.
Yep.
And so I look for that. I look for us to take care of the ball. We can't play Auburn ball. With them having a new coach and everything, they're going to they're going to follow the Memphis blueprint, because no one can play us like Iowa State. So I don't think that's the blueprint. But the on-ball defense has looked really good. I think we continue that. And I think CJ or Jakari will give Tahad Pettiford a hard day. So that's my thoughts. I think we come out and handle business. I would say maybe 10 to 15. So
okay. Yeah, I like that. You guys both mentioned defense, so I just wanted to bring it up. Just pulled up the updated KenPom. We did jump to 18th now defensively, so we're in the top 20 in both, which is something I like to see. Again, I'm not so focused on stats because I do watch Purdue games, and I know the last 5 minutes typically completely destroy our statistical output. But good to see us jump a little bit more on the defensive side of things. That's the one part of the game that Painter really wanted to see improve this year. And just the addition of Oscar Clough has really done that. But yeah, moving forward, I think that, like you said, this week's going to suck, especially I go on vacation Friday. So I got a whole week of no Purdue and vacation in the mind. So it's going to be rough, to be honest with you. My mental health is going to be on the slide until we leave. So just excited to see what the response is from the game last year from these three guys. I really think that they're going to come out crazy. In my opinion, this is a game where Purdue hits somewhere in like the 16 to 17 threes, and we just light them on fire. And probably we've all been begging for a fast start. I see this as like a 50 to 26 halftime lead, where you can basically turn the game off and, for me, go watch the Bears and the Packers. So I really think that it's going to be a statement. And if it's not, and that's where I get into concerns. There's no reason for a lack of motivation or a lack of, anger or whatever it is going into this game. You really should be there mentally, physically, emotionally and you should want to destroy this team. And if I see that same kind of like first half Iowa or second half of Iowa State where we looked a little unmotivated, that'll upset me. That'll concern me a little bit, I think. So just really hoping to see that fight early. I want to see us come out with some aggression, with some anger, and really dominate that game. But we'll have a preview up of that, obviously, sometime this week. Back to the game we just watched, we can kind of hit on our final few things here and then get out of here. We've been here 45 minutes. We got to go watch, if you haven't, I'm sure you do if you watch ours, but go watch the bits post game as well. Boiler Diehard, also love him. He does a great one. I'll probably go check those out throughout the evening tonight. Appreciate anybody who's been here with us, though. Blake, who is your player of the game?
I'm gonna. I know there's some obvious ones, but I'm gonna give it to CJ.
Okay.
I just thought
Love
he did
that.
everything right when he was in there. He only played 22 minutes, but he's just been locking guys down night in, night out, and we need that. And so you guys can give it to the other guys that are a little bit more obvious.
Dalton?
Oh, you already know.
Yeah, it's
Don't
every
even
game.
ask. Sign me up for Clough, man.
Yep.
I just remember when we picked him up, people were kind of chirping, like, I don't know, will his game translate? I'm like, man, I went and watched a bunch of film on him on YouTube. It's available. It's free for everyone, not just me, just to let everybody know. But I knew it. And I'm excited. You know, I don't call a lot of things right all the time, and I say some really dumb stuff a lot of the time. But
That's facts.
Oscar Clough's my guy, and you can sit that one out, Derek. But but yeah, I mean, Clough, they got Cloughed up, man.
Yeah, I mean, impossible not to have him as the player of the game if you're really doing it objectively. 22 points, didn't miss a shot, didn't miss a free throw, 11 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 1 assist. Absolutely incredible game. Just impressive from start to finish. The only thing I ever noticed with Clough that's concerning is he looks so tired sometimes. Like, I don't know what his stamina looks like if he's got to play 30 minutes. He played 23 in this game, but man, sometimes I look at him, I'm like, that dude is worked. You know, that's the guy that graduated high school and 6 years later goes to play in the Y League. And his first game in, he's played for 35 seconds and he's got to come out. There's times I see that, but man, the guy's, I give it to him. He's a relentless worker in there. I'm going to give mine to Fletcher. I know he didn't do a whole lot of other stuff in this game, but I just really needed to see him make some shots. He is so integral to our team. He's the leader on the floor, vocal leader. He brings a little bit of shit to him that a lot of the guys on this team don't all the time have. And him making threes makes everybody so much more lethal on this team because it spreads teams out. So if they have to focus on Fletcher shooting 8 to 10 threes a game, I mean, it frees up the guys inside. It frees up Braden to, fake passes to Fletcher. It's just something that I think is super important to our team. I did want to quickly hit on and what your guys' thoughts were real quick. Another game where our minutes distribution is extremely different from what we saw last year. Braden plays 31, but nobody else plays more than 28, and that's Fletcher. Our bench plays, we have 3 guys with over 16 minutes on the bench. Jack Bender plays 12. We had 9 guys make at least 2 field goals in this game. What are your guys' thoughts on the depth of this team? Because there's counter arguments here that sometimes too many guys and too much depth is taking away from your best players being on the floor and taking the shots. So, Blake, you haven't been on the show, so I'd like to get your opinion on that. There's times where I love the depth in games like this especially, but when we go up against really, really good teams, do you think this will flip? Do you think we'll have guys kind of fall off a little bit and we'll have more of a 6 to 8 man rotation instead of this 9 or 10 man?
That's a great question. I would like to think about it a little bit more. The game today was, pretty quickly a 20-point lead. And so I think that, probably played into some of the minutes. And so once we get into Big Ten play and we're consistently in closer games, I'll be really interested to see it. I'm actually a little bit opposite with the Auburn game. I'm great if we have a blowout. I'm actually hoping for a really high level performance from Auburn that pushes us.
Yeah.
I would love like a classic game that's tight and hotly competitive, and that we get free throws at the end that help us hold a lead. They start fouling us because we're up 5 or 6 points, and they just have to foul us to try to stay in the game in the final minutes, and we just nail our free throws because free throws misses are a huge concern for me. So I want this Auburn game to be like a pressure cooker. But that will also, if it's competitive, I think we'll see minutes that will be more in line with March. But it's a little bit too early in the season to tell yet, in my opinion.
I like that take, really. Now I was thinking about that when you were saying it. Outside of Memphis, I don't know that Purdue's been in a close game. Like, it's maybe some of those early ones that were against bad teams, but those don't feel close. Like, we blew out Texas Tech. I guess the Alabama game.
Alabama was in the last 90 seconds. Braden got that pump fake foul, made his free throws. They missed. We got fouled again. But it was close.
Yeah, so I guess that's really the only true high level close one. I mean, the other ones we've been blown out, and then we blew out Texas Tech. So I kind of like that, and we just blew out Marquette. When the season was put together, I think a lot of good people looked at this game thinking this is going to be a good game, and then Marquette ended up being really bad. So, Dalton, what are your thoughts, kind of just on the rotation? Do you expect that to tighten up, like Blake said? And is this just an indication of how lopsided a lot of these games have been?
I don't think it will. I don't see how you can't play 10 players on this team. I don't see a way to, minutes might shift around, but I don't foresee us getting to a strict 7-8 man. With the talent we have and with keeping legs, it didn't tighten up against Iowa State. I mean, obviously we were getting rim rocked in the second half, but the minutes were still there for everyone. I just think there's so many guys. I think it can be a gift and a curse, as you see with Kentucky. If you have that much depth, you don't really know who's going to come out and be hot. So it takes a minute to find it sometimes. And when you're playing really good teams, I think that can be a detriment. But I don't know. Like I say, I'm wrong a lot. And maybe Painter will get it down to 8. But I think that's the absolute lowest. And I think you'll still see guys getting 8 to 10 that were getting, higher amounts of minutes. But I just don't know, man, because you don't know who's going to come out and have a blazer. Any of these guys, Jakari could light you up for 20. Any guy on the floor at any time. Jack Venter's capable of a 20 ball. Who's hot? How do you know? If you don't play them, so it takes a little time, but I don't know. I don't want to see it get to that. I want to see players adding value everywhere, enough to the point where we keep a 10-man rotation and you don't know who to scheme for in March.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think it gets tightened up a little as far as, I think Braden plays more than 30 minutes a game, and I think, little stuff like that. But I'd like to see those guys still be getting in the game. I did want to just update, because we mentioned it earlier. The Nebraska was up 37-24 on Illinois with 4 minutes left in the half. It is now 37-37 at halftime.
Wow.
So little 13-0 run to end the half by Illinois to tie it up. That's kind of what I was thinking when I looked, and I was like, man, Nebraska's one guy has 25 points. It's probably what Blake is that? Oh, that's Blake Widmer.
That's
Jamison.
the guy you chat with, JMO.
Yeah, you've talked to him many times.
Always in the chat box.
He's an actual person.
Yeah, he's real life. He lives in Jamaica. That's a whole other country.
Jam rock.
All right, we'll close this up. Any final thoughts, Blake? Anything you wanna say? We really do appreciate you coming on and chatting with us for 52 minutes.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm glad I got the Minnesota score correct, earned my reward, and yeah, good game. Love to see the defensive effort. We're on our P's and Q's with the scouting report. Didn't give up a lot of transition buckets. Turnovers were higher than I wanted to be, but we really, dialed it in after that first 8-minute stretch. So take away the first 8 minutes of the game, I'm very happy with our performance. And the last 4 minutes too, as we all know.
Yeah. The last 4, that wasn't really Purdue though. That was Jace Rail. When Jace Rail enters the game, everything goes out the window. That's my thought. No offense to Jace Rail. Actually, plenty of offense to you, buddy. I watched you play at Kokomo.
Come on.
No, I'm just kidding.
On,
I'm
dude.
kidding. I'm kidding, guys. Sorry about that. Aaron, fine. I love you. Dalton, go ahead. Your final thoughts of this game.
Final thoughts. 1.5 good halves in a row. Can we get it to 4.5 or 3.5? 3.5. Let's go. That's it. Good game. Way to go,
Yes.
boys.
Yes, and anybody who watched this, please hit the like and subscribe button. Go check out your other favorite podcasts as well. We support those guys. Love what they do. And we appreciate anybody who's been on here and follows us and supports us. We really do appreciate it. Thanks again, Blake. And we'll see you guys later. Jameson says bye, Blake. Appreciate it. And thank you guys. Have a great day and boiler up.
Boiler up. Thanks, Blake. See ya.
Peace out.
Peace.